kung fu.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Comic and Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I have another action classic for you in the shape of 2007's Hot Fuzz, starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. This is the second movie in the Coronado trilogy, or is it the Coronado trilogy? I can always say it incorrectly. The second movie, the first one was Shaun of the Dead, and the third one was At the World's End. But this one, Hot Fuzz, is the second movie in that trilogy, directed by, I don't know if I want to go as far as, maybe it's, you can go as far as legendary filmmaker Edgar Wright. Now, Edgar Wright has been making movies for a long time, and to be fair, I can't think of the last time he made a movie that I genuinely thought was great, but back in the day, the early 2000s in particular, Edgar Wright was hot, dude. I mean, between Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, this movie, The World's End, I believe he directed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Like, Edgar Wright, he has a unique flavor to him. And the two actors that he loved to work with was Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And both of these actors are great. And I love them whenever I see them in something. Whenever I see Nick Frost randomly appear in something, I know it's going to be delightful because he's just such a funny actor. And whenever I say Simon Pegg pop up in Mission Impossible or something, I know he's going to give a unique performance too, because Simon Pegg has this unique way of carrying himself in films where he can be the most sympathetic guy in a movie, or he can be the most dislikable guy in a movie. He can really carry that or he can be the most relatable guy in a movie. And I think Simon Pegg really has figured out how to do that. Obviously, the last time I saw Simon Pegg was actually in The Boys. Well, no, I guess he was in Mission Impossible a year or two ago, so that's probably the last time I saw him, but he was also in The Boys. But getting into this movie in particular, Hot Fuzz follows a character named Nicholas Angel, and Nicholas Angel is this copper, is a cop in the British cop who is a bad motherfucker in London. I mean, he is accolade after accolade after accolade. I mean, this dude is an overachiever on steroids. He is like the super cop in London. He is by the books, by the numbers. He trains every day. He eats and shits and breathes law enforcement. And he's great. And he gets all these arrests. And he's fantastic. But unfortunately for Nick, him being so great, quote unquote, made everyone else look like shit. Because he was so good that essentially the government, or London, the government in London, the people who run shit, basically start questioning, what the fuck is everyone else doing if he's doing all this? Which then made them go, okay, we need to get rid of this dude so that people, basically, the more work you do, the more work we have to do. And as long as you're around doing all this kicking ass and taking name shit, we gotta do more work. So we're gonna get rid of you. And they sent him, and they gave him technically a raise and technically a promotion, and made him a sergeant and sent him to this small village in the middle of butt shit nowhere in Britain named Sanford. And Sanford is this nice little beautiful what's the word I'm looking for? Like what you imagine a beautiful little village in the middle of nowhere would look like. Like it's literally a village that has gotten the title Best Village in Britain. Like, it's gotten the best village in Britain. Now, I don't know if they meant all of Britain or if they just meant this area in Britain. I wouldn't be able to tell you. But they gotten that title. Like, that's how very picturesque this village is. It's a very picturesque village, and all the people know each other, and it seems so harmonial and just so peaceful and loving. And of course, Nick doesn't want to go there. He's used to being in London. He's used to being in the city and dealing with the people and dealing with the crooks. And he's been involved in car chases, and he's been involved in the action. And although he is by the book, and it's not exactly like he's obsessed with the action, he's just as into doing the paperwork and doing the boring shit as he is into doing the badass shit, because he really believes in this cop shit. To the point where, it's ruined his marriage. He's alone. He has no real relationships or friendships. Like, it's really like I said, he's committed to this shit. So, of course, he doesn't want to go to this small village. He thinks it's going to be boring as fuck. But, you know what? He's like, but he is, by the book. And you know what? If this is what's about to happen to me, this is what's about to happen to me. And he goes to this town. He goes to this little village. And at first, Nick is a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Bored-ish. Because he can't turn it off. Because like over and over again throughout the course of the movie, it's repeated. You can't turn it off. He can't turn off his copperhead. He can't turn off his detective mind. He can't turn off his, every time he looks around, he's just seeing fucking people break the law. And he just can't turn that shit off. He's like, you should be arrested. You should be arrested. I mean, the first thing he does when he gets in town is he goes into a bar and arrests an entire group of kids who are drinking inside of the bar. Now, granted, they should have been drinking in the bar, but I was like, he wasn't even on the clock yet. That's the first thing he does. He doesn't even know how things work in this town yet. And throughout the beginning of the movie, he's just he's just doing all this dumb shit. And a part of him feels kind of like bored with all this, but another part of him is just like, what is going on in this town? Because throughout the course of the movie, there are subtle hints that something more is happening in this town. There's moments here. Someone says something here. Someone says something there. And that's like the first 30 minutes of the movie. Like, there's just things here and there. But he's a little distracted because his partner, who he has named Danny, who's played by Nick Frost, Danny is obsessed with cop movies. Over and over again, he is referencing cop movies. The most notable ones being Point Break and Bad Boys 2. He is constantly referencing cop movies because Danny has this ideal, like, over-the-top version where cops are going to be like, they're going to be action movie cops. Whereas, Nick is like, no, that's not really what it is about. It's about paperwork, a lot of boring stuff, a lot of fetching, a lot of going doing that, a lot of it's a lot of beat, a lot of watching people. Like, it's not all of that. Whereas Danny's like, oh man, we can, he's like quoting movies and talking, like, have you ever jumped and shot guns? And Danny is excitable. And Nick Frost plays that well. And them two together being a buddy cop duo, which they're a duo anyways. Those two are just duos in anything you put them in. But those two together, particularly in this movie, being a true buddy cop duo, because Nick's them doing the great thing of Nick being Nick being uptight and Danny being just loosey. I mean, Danny's so loosey. The first time they met, he was drunk and trying to drive his way to the precinct, and literally got put in a cell and was up, dressed, and ready to go home patrol in the morning. I was like, what the fuck is up with this guy? But they did bond because Danny's enthusiasm eventually weighed on Nick. Eventually, Nick started letting him in, and then Nick started watching the movies. And like I said, he did start to relax a little bit. But in the background, all of a sudden, murders start happening. We don't know why these murders are happening. It's kind of random. You're like, what is happening? And the movie does a great job of subverting your expectations because you do think you know why they're committing these murders. You think you know how they're committing these murders. And by the time the movie gets to the end, you do know, I do feel like you do sort of, you do kind of go, okay, well, it can't be who they're pointing at it to be. It's got to be someone else. But by the time the reveal came at the end of the movie, that not only was there more than one killer, turns out the entire goddamn neighborhood watch or whatever has been secretly killing people for decades. Any troublemakers, they've been killing troublemakers for decades. And because this village is way out in the back ass of nowhere, they're able to do it without anyone investigating because the law enforcement there is obviously the ones, making it so that no one comes there and investigates, so that they can continue to be named the best village in Britain. That's literally it. Literally, it's like the PTA went murderous. And that was a twist I didn't see coming. I thought, okay, why are these murders happening? And they set up this old, a red herring of, oh, somebody's selling up land and maybe they're gonna build a supermarket here. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, so someone's killing these people because they want to make sure they can get, because it's some type of financial reason. No, turns out all these people being killed throughout the course of the movie were all killed simply because the PTA or the fucking the neighborhood watch or whatever decided we don't like this guy. Literally, they killed the guy because he was a bad actor, and they were like, it's gonna affect our program, our acting program with him involved, so we gotta get rid of him. What? They're that hardcore, man. And the movie all leads up, because this is another one of those action movies that leads up to the big action sequence. Like, there's a couple action movies I did Best of the Best and a couple few others where there isn't actually a ton of action throughout the beginning of the for most of the movie, but it all leads up to this over-the-top, insane action sequence where fucking Nick comes back to town after being nearly killed. He gets a bunch of guns, and him and fucking Danny light the whole goddamn town up and take down all the people involved and fucking arrest them and save the day. And it is this over-the-top thing, and everything that's referenced throughout the course of the movie all comes back around. They're doing the Bad Boy. They're referencing Bad Boys with them both jumping with the guns. They're referencing Point Break with Danny unable to shoot his fathers and shooting the gun in the air. They talk about car chase scenes, and they're talking about, have you ever fired your gun while shooting in the car? No. They're doing that. Like, all the stuff, like, it's the movie that comes together so fucking beautifully. There's no meat left. Like, it leaves nothing unaddressed. I mean, even the goose. There's this whole subplot about a fucking goose, or is it geese? Whatever, a goose, where they keep losing this fucking goose, and at the end of the movie, guess what? They got the goose. Not only did they get the goose, but the goose ended up helping them take down the bad guys. So Hot Fuzz is an amazing movie. It's more of a comedy than an action movie, but the action sequences at the end are so over the top and so, insane that I think that it, like, still is in that category of an action movie. It is funny. It is quick-witted. It is all over the place. It is well written. Every character in it is interesting. There are little Easter eggs and little things and little references all over the place to other films. Hot Fuzz is one of my favorite movies, man, and I would give it a 10 out of 10. That is my action classic for this week. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.